So Kunti was so transparent throughout her life, but she could not actually reveal this truth that Karna is her son to anybody. She could not reveal the truth to her husband. She could not reveal the truth to the Pandavas. But after Karna died, she spoke the truth to Yudhishthir. She told Yudhishthir, please perform the last rites for Karna also. At that time, Yudhishthir was surprised. Why is my mother telling me to perform the last rites for Karna? And Yudhishthir actually asked Karna and then asked Kunti, and Kunti reveals the truth. Yudhishthira Maharaj, who never spoke a lie in his life, but Yudhishthira Maharaj could not handle this truth which Kunti spoke to him. Yudhishthira Maharaj becomes angry. Why did you not reveal this truth to me before? Why did you not reveal that Karna is my elder brother before? Yudhishthira Maharaj becomes angry. So we see many times people don't have the capacity to handle certain truth in their life. Even Yudhishthir became actually angry. So even for example, another example from Ramayana, Dashrath Maharaj, once he went on hunting, he had a particular actually skill, siddhi. By hearing the sound, by hearing the particular sound, he can release an arrow, and that arrow will go in the direction from which the sound is coming, and then it will kill that particular target. It will attack the particular target. So once he actually, by using the technique, he released an arrow, but that arrow actually went and struck a Rishi Kumara, a young son of a sage. And that person, when Dashrath Maharaj realized that he had actually killed the Rishi Kumara, that is Shravan Kumar, and then Shravan Kumar said that Shravan Kumar, just before about to die, he told that I have my parents and both of them are blind, and they are staying in the nearby ashram. I have been serving my old parents, both of them are blind. I have come here to actually take water for them. Please actually reveal this to your parents that I have died. And then he dies. So Dashrath Maharaj, so just imagine Dashrath Maharaj, he made a mistake. Like it was a mistake that he released an arrow in the direction that that person died. And usually, just imagine there are two old parents. The only son died who was serving them. And when you go and reveal that, oh, I only killed my son, like how much anger it will generate in them. But Dashrath Maharaj had the honesty to go and reveal the truth to them. Sometimes people commit mistakes, but we don't have the capacity to reveal those mistakes. We want to hide those mistakes. But Dashrath Maharaj had the honesty to go and reveal the truth to the parents. And those old parents, when they heard, they said that if he had not come to us, our pain would have instantly burnt you. Our pain is so intense that we cannot tolerate this. Although you have honestly come and revealed this and you are begging forgiveness, but the news of hearing that our son had died, it is so intense that this pain will come out in the form of a curse. Please tolerate this curse. And then they said that just like we are suffering, we are going through the suffering of being separated from our son. You will also have to go through the pain of getting separated from the son. So here we see that Dashrath Maharaj spoke the truth, but the Shravan Kumar's parents, they couldn't handle the truth. So speaking the truth is one thing. Another thing is to handle the truth. So here Shakuntala is speaking the truth to Kanva Rishi that I got married to Dushyanta. But what is Kanva Rishi's response? So this is something important to think about. So Kanva Rishi says, Tvaya adya badre rahasi mam Tvaya adya badre rahasi mam anadritya yah kritaha Pumsa saha samayogi nasa dharmopagatakaha. So today you have actually disrespected me and you got married to a man without asking my permission. This is a disrespect towards me. And you have established a connection with a man without consulting me. But still, nasa dharmopagatakaha. But still, this act of yours will not be the cause of the destruction of your dharma. Will not be the cause of the destruction of your dharma. And then Kanva Rishi says, Kshatriyasya hi Gandharvo Vivahaha Sreshta Uchyate Sakamaya Sakamena Nirmantro Rahasi Smritaha. For Kshatriyas, Gandharva Vivaha is considered to be Gandharva Vivaha is approved for a Kshatriya. It is glorious for a Kshatriya. And Gandharva Vivaha is that marriage where the husband, where the man and the woman, they like each other, and then they get married to each other without consulting anybody, and they get married to each other, and they establish connection with each other without the usual rituals of a marriage, and that is Gandharva Vivaha. And so, although you have disrespected me, but I approve of your marriage. So this was the response of Kanva Rishi. So Kanva Rishi was more concerned that Shakuntala did not break the principles of Dharma. Yeah, Shakuntala did consult Kanva Rishi, which is definitely unconventional, without consulting the father, just suddenly a girl getting married all alone. Like sometimes the marriages happen, sometimes a love marriage, the parents are not approving. So they get married, but still they call some well-wishers or somebody, the friends of them, and they get married like that. But here is a marriage, it appears like a almost illicit affair, like nobody is there and suddenly they had relation. But Kanva Rishi was aware of the principles of Dharma. He approves that marriage because he saw that this is according to the Gandharva Vidhi, according to the principles of Dharma, allowed for a Kshatriya. So here, let us discuss some examples from the Shastra about the response of the different superiors when the subordinates disobeyed the superiors. What are the responses of the different personalities? Say, for example, Brahma asked the Kumaras to assist him by getting married and procreating children and help him in the service of creation. He asked them to get married and procreate children. And Kumaras refused to obey Brahma's request. And Brahma was upset. Brahma was upset and he became angry, but he controlled his anger because he understood that Kumaras, his sons, were elevated and they are refusing to follow his request because they wanted to exclusively focus on self-realization without any distraction of getting married. So because Brahma understood that the Kumaras, although they are disobeying, but they are disobeying with a higher purpose in mind. They are disobeying not because of certain sense gratification or not because of sometimes not because of certain irresponsible nature. Sometimes nowadays we may find many people they don't want to get married, they just want to remain simple. One reason can be just they don't want to take any responsibility in life. But the Kumaras, they didn't have that kind of lower reason. The Kumaras, because they wanted to pursue self-realization, therefore they refused to get married. When Brahma understood that, yeah, he became angry, but he controlled his anger. He did not exhibit his anger on the four Kumaras. And another example is Yadu. Yayati Maharaj. Yayati Maharaj was cursed by Shukracharya to become old. When Yayati had a relation with Sarmishta. And Yayati Maharaj, but his material desires were still active. He was cursed to become old, but his desire to enjoy was still very much there. So he pleaded with Shukracharya, my desires are still there, but you have cursed me to become old. Can you give me some method by which I can get a youthful body to satisfy my desires? Then Shukracharya felt that even his daughter will also suffer because of Yayati becoming old. Therefore, he gave a means. Okay, you can exchange your old age with the youth of your sons. At that time, Yayati called his eldest son Yadu and asked him to give his youth and to exchange his youth with him. But Yadu said that, my dear father, you have already achieved old age. But although you also were a young man previously, but I do not welcome your old age and invalidity, because unless one enjoys material happiness, one cannot attain renunciation. Yadu refused to give his youth to his father because Yadu said that the ultimate purpose of life is renunciation. But unless ultimate purpose of life is to perform devotional service to Supreme Lord, and then by renouncing all other desires. But now, if I don't satisfy my material desires by following the principles of Dharma, then when I become old, my desires will still be there, my desires will not be satiated, and I will not be able to pursue self-realization, devotional service in a one-pointed manner. Therefore, I do not want to give my youth to you. Although you will give my youth to me after enjoying my youth, but that will be after a very long time. And after getting that youth back from you, then I will enjoy my material desires with that youth. Then when I naturally become old, then I will be able to practice devotional service in a one-pointed manner. It will take a long time. So I don't want to delay in my practice of devotional service with a one-pointed focus. So therefore, I don't want to give my youth to you. And moreover, I have a service to perform. Lord Krishna is going to appear in my dynasty. I do not want to delay the appearance of Krishna in my dynasty. If I give my youth to you now, you will enjoy my youth for many years. After enjoying for many years, then you will return my youth to me. And then after gaining my youth, then I will be able to procreate children. Then my dynasty will progress. And then in the future, Krishna will appear in my dynasty. And there will be a delay in the appearance of the Lord Krishna in the dynasty. This is one reason. And second reason, that if I give my youth to you, there will be delay in my one-pointed focus on devotional service. So therefore, I do not want to exchange my youth to you. So here, Yadu is also disobeying Yayati. But this, although he is disobeying, this is for a spiritual reason. This is for a spiritual reason. That is why Prabhupada says that the other brothers of Yadu also disobeyed Yayati's request to exchange their youth with their father's old age. But the other three brothers, they disobeyed because they wanted to enjoy purely sense gratification. And therefore, they were considered to be irreligious because they did not obey their father's request. But Yadu, although he disobeyed his father because it was for a spiritual reason, his disobedience is not condemned. That is why Yadu is considered to be a Dharmashila. Yadoshcha Dharmashilasya Nitaram Munisattama. Although he disobeyed because he had a spiritual reason, he is considered to be a Dharmashila. So this is another second instance for subordinate disobeying the superior. But in this case, Yayati Maharaj became angry with Yadu. He became angry with Yadu. He did not understand the elevated purpose of Yadu. He did not appreciate the elevated purpose of Yadu in disobeying him. Therefore, he did not make Yadu as the emperor. He is the eldest son. He should have been made the emperor, but he did not make Yadu as the emperor. So it is a very typical material calculation. Okay, you did not facilitate my sense gratification, therefore I will not give you the particular position. And another example for subordinate disobeying the superior, Bali Maharaj disobeying Shukracharya. Shukracharya advised Bali Maharaj not to give charity to Vamanadev. But Bali Maharaj, he thought deeply and he gave several reasons why he wanted to go ahead with giving charity to Vamanadev. He disobeyed Shukracharya, but for a spiritual purpose. Shukracharya spoke from a dharmic point of view. This Vamanadev will take everything from you and you will not have anything with you. But Bali Maharaj understood to sacrifice everything for Vishnu, that is the goal of life. He chose to disobey his Guru. But Shukracharya did not understand the elevated surrender and a devotional disposition of his disciple Bali Maharaj. Therefore, he cursed Bali Maharaj. He cursed Bali Maharaj because Shukracharya was interested in his dakshina from his disciple, and he felt that Vamanadev will take everything from him, then I will not get any dakshina from Bali Maharaj. So he did not appreciate how Bali Maharaj is actually following the highest principles of dharma, highest principles of surrender to the Lord. So here is another instance how a material authority not understanding the elevated purpose of the subordinate's disobedience, he curses the subordinate. And then next example is Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu's grandsons, they went to perform tapasya to please Lord Brahma. But Hiranyakashipu became so angry. How can you perform tapasya without taking my permission? And he felt offended and he cursed them. You will be killed by your own father because you disobeyed, you did not consult me. They were doing good activity of performing tapasya to worship some devata, but Hiranyakashipu was very egocentric superior. He cursed them, you will be killed by your own father. And those 6 grandsons, they were the ones who became the first 6 sons of Devaki, and they were killed by Kamsa. And that Kamsa was their father in the previous life. Kamsa was Kalanemi, their father in the previous life. So they were killed by their own father who came as Kamsa. So here we see sometimes a superior who is very egocentric, they want the subordinates to just follow him all the time. Even when the subordinate are doing some good activity, somehow because of not consulting him, and sometimes the superiors get offended. And the next example is Daksha Prajapati. He sent his sons to perform austerities to get purified and then get married and procreate children. He sent his sons Haryashvas. But Haryashvas were inspired by Narada Muni to take the path of renunciation and practice bhakti. Daksha Prajapati, he became very angry. Actually, the purpose of the Narada Muni could see that these people are very pure, that why should they unnecessarily get entangled in Grahastha ashram? He inspired them like that. And that is the purpose of life. And Daksha Prajapati, he became so angry and he cursed Narada Muni. Because Narada Muni inspired my sons to disobey me. Inspired my sons not to enter the Grahastha ashram, to disobey my instruction. So these are the examples of how a person with a material consciousness, how they react when they see the subordinates have disobeyed him for a spiritual reason, for a higher purpose. Even then, how the material authority with the material consciousness, how they become angry, how they exhibit their anger towards different people. But on the other hand, we see here Kanva Rishi. Kanva Rishi was naturally upset. Shakuntala got married without taking his permission. But still, because when he saw that Shakuntala followed the principles of Dharma of Gandharva Vivaha and got married to Dushyanta, he approved of that marriage. So that means what we can see here is that there are 3 things: loyalty to a person, loyalty to the principles of Dharma, and loyalty to an institution. Out of the 3, loyalty to the person, loyalty to the principles of Dharma, this is the highest principle. Loyalty to an individual person or a loyalty to an institution, They are subservient to the loyalty to the principles of dharma. We follow a person as long as that person is guiding according to the principles of dharma. We follow an institution as long as the institution is functioning according to the principles of dharma. That is why Prabhupada mentioned that books are the basis of the institution. Books mean Shastras. And Shastras, they give the principles of dharma. So here we see Kanva Rishi, yeah, Shakuntala, she did not consult me. In fact, Shakuntala wanted to consult Kanva Rishi. That was one of the reluctance of Shakuntala she exhibited when Dushyanta proposed her to get married. She did not want to take an independent decision. She knew that culture, but because when she understood it is according to principles of dharma, she also had an attraction toward Dushyanta. She consulted the Paramatma, the highest authority, and then got married. But in her heart, she always wanted to take blessings from Kanva Rishi. But Kanva Rishi, he saw that more than Shakuntala disobeyed me, but more than that, she did not disobey the principles of dharma, and therefore she approved and she gave his full blessings to Shakuntala. She gave his full blessings to Shakuntala. So, but sometimes, like for one example, we see from the point of view of subordinate, subordinate should want to take the permission of the superior, even though subordinate may be making a right decision according to the principles of dharma mentioned in the Shastra, but still a subordinate should actually take blessings from a personal spiritual master or one's guardian before executing the decision. For example, Parishit Maharaj, when he was cursed to die within 7 days, according to the Shastra, a person who is about to die should fast until death. This is a Shastric principle for a person about to die. It's mentioned in the Shastra. So according to this principle, Parishit Maharaj decided to fast until death. But even though he made the decision, he still asked, he asked the sages who were assembled there, and he wanted to take blessings of the sages for his decision of wanting to fast until death. And Parishit Maharaj informed them about his decision to fast until death. So Prabhupada says that although the king had already decided to fast until death, he humbly expressed his decision to elicit the opinions of the great authorities present there. So any decision, however important, should be confirmed by some authority, and that makes the matter perfect. Therefore, Parishit Maharaj consulted, wanted to take the blessings of the sages. Yeah, from the point of view of a subordinate, one should want to take the blessings of the superiors. And Shakuntala wanted to take the blessings, but somehow because of the inspiration given by Paramatma, she took the decision. So from the point of view of subordinate, one should not have a disrespectful attitude towards the superiors. The superiors can be one's spiritual master, or the parents, or the Shiksha Guru, or the guardians, whatever. And from the point of view of the superiors should not have an egocentric attitude towards the subordinates. Even though the subordinates have made a decision according to the principles of dharma, but in some circumstances, they were not able to inform or take permission beforehand just because of that, oh, you did not take permission from me, just because of that, one should not become angry with the subordinates, even though the subordinates have taken a decision according to the principles of Dharma. So here we see Kanva Rishi's mature response as a superior. So Kanva Rishi was well versed with the different codes of Dharma. That means here indicates the rules of marriage. And he was also aware of the exceptional rules of marriage, or the different exceptional rules of marriage allowed for the particular varnas, like Kshatriya. For Kshatriya, Gandharva Vivaha was approved, which is not allowed for like other varnas, like that according. So sometimes one may be aware of the different rules, but one may not be aware of the exceptions to those rules. Because every rule will have an exception. And there's a saying which said that for every rule there is an exception, and for this there is no exception. Like there are different rules, different principles are there, different, and every principle has some exception. Like for example, there is a, say suppose the government declares a curfew, or a so during COVID period they declare no transportation, no buses will be running. But then they declare certain exception. Or there will be people who want to go and meet their relatives or admitted in the hospital. So we have to make exception for them. And then they make different rules. Okay, they have to submit a certain protocol. They have to submit certain proof, or they are going to meet somebody in the hospital. And during the first wave of COVID, too, like it was like a curfew-like situation. No transportation at all, no local trains, no buses. For certain exception for ambulances, exception for police vehicles. So for every rule has different exceptions. So therefore, a mature person is not only aware of the rule, but is also aware of the exceptions to those rules. When somebody is not aware of the exception to the rules, then he may commit some mistakes. Like for a simple thing, for example, somebody is say guarding the prasadam queue or something like that. It is supposed to collect a coupon and then let the people inside. But certain Prabhupada disciples come, or certain people, and he should be aware that okay, certain people did not ask for coupons or certain this thing. Should be aware of that. He should be educated in those principles, exceptions. So sometimes when people are not aware of those exceptions, then they commit mistakes. So Kanva Rishi was well versed. He was aware of the exceptions of the rules of marriage allowed for a Kshatriya. Therefore, he approved the marriage of Shakuntala with Dushyanta. So Shakuntala's decision was wrong from a cultural point of view. But from the point of view of Dharma, it was right. Her decision was not wrong. And she married a king, not an ordinary person, a very cultured king. And who is the father who would not be happy to see her daughter getting married to a person like Dushyanta, a cultured emperor? So Kanva Rishi appreciated it, he approved it, and he gave all the blessings to Shakuntala. So then Shakuntala was, very soon Shakuntala was carrying that baby in her womb. And Shakuntala carried that baby for 3 years. After 3 years, she gave birth to the child. And when the child was born, Indra came along with the Devatas. And Indra gave the blessings. Indra said that this child will be a very powerful king. His glories will spread in all the directions. and this entire land will be named after him, Bharata Varsha. So Indra gave blessings, and then so this child Bharata, he started growing. Even as a small child, he was so powerful. And even as a 3-year-old boy, he had the capacity to attack and kill the ferocious animals in the forest. And as a 6-year-old boy, he would actually chase, he would act just like he would bind the lions and tigers near his ashrama. He would kill them. He had such a power. So he had such power. And then at a certain time, Kanva Rishi called Shakuntala. Kanva Rishi told that this is time that you should go you should go to your husband's place. It is not proper that a woman who is married stays away from her husband for a long time. Actually, Dushyanta had told before leaving that very soon I will send my army to actually get you back to the kingdom. But never, Dushyanta had not sent the army at all. Many years had passed. Bharat was born after 3 years, and then I think at the age of 12, I guess, Shakuntala took Bharata to go and meet Dushyanta. So for so many years, Dushyanta had not sent an army, and Kanva Rishi is telling that it is not appropriate you are staying here, and it is also the appropriate time has come for enthroning your son Bharat as the Yuvaraj. Therefore, you must actually go to your husband's place. And Kanva Rishi tells his disciples to take Shakuntala to Dushyanta's kingdom. So at that time, when Kanva Rishi is telling to, when Shakuntala is about to take leave, Kanva Rishi, although he was a great sage, highly learned in the Shastra, so Kanva Rishi sheds tears of affection as a father when Shakuntala is leaving. He starts crying. And Shakuntala begs forgiveness from Kanva Rishi. My dear father, please forgive me for all my mistakes. Whatever I have done all these years, please forgive me. Shakuntala is begging forgiveness. Kanva Rishi is shedding his tears of affection. And the little son Bharat, he is excited of going to the kingdom. He is ready for the change. And Bharat is actually asking very eagerly, oh, when are we going to the kingdom? When are we going to meet my father? So you can see the same event, but 3 different people are exhibiting different emotions. Different people respond differently to the same situation. There is a high degree of diversity. So then Shakuntala comes along with Bharat to meet Dushyanta. She arrives at the Dushyanta's Sabha. So many people were present in the Sabha, all the ministers were present, everyone is present. Right in front of everyone, Shakuntala tells to Dushyanta, this particular son is born from my womb, and this is your son, and please coronate him as a Yuvaraj. And Shakuntala tells this to Dushyanta right in front of everyone. Shakuntala is assuming Dushyanta knows that she is his wife, and Shakuntala is directly telling that this particular child is your son, who is born through me, please actually coronate him as a Yuvraj. So at that time, what is the response of Dushyanta, which completely shattered Shakuntala, which we'll see in the next time, and how when Dushyanta responds to Shakuntala, and how Shakuntala is going to handle that situation, which we'll discuss in the next time. So today, to summarize what we discussed that when Kanva Rishi returned to the ashram, Shakuntala reveals the truth. So we discussed about the principle of speaking the truth versus handling the truth. How the speaking truth itself is difficult, and more difficult is to handle the truth. We discussed some instances. And then we discussed about the Kanva Rishi's response to Shakuntala. And we discussed several examples of how when the subordinates disobey the superiors, how the superiors respond to the situation. We discussed different examples. And then we also discussed the principles about the loyalty to Dharma, loyalty to a person, loyalty to the institution. We discussed about knowing the normal rules and also knowing the exceptional rules. So some things we discussed. If anybody has any questions or comments. See.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, about this regarding even Parikshit Maharaj handling the curse, he could have counter cursed or to Shringi, but he did not. So he responded very nicely and he took the whole thing on himself. Though he was not at fault, but the handling that situation, I mean, we spoke about handling the truth, but this handling the curse also one of the aspects.
Yes. Yeah, that's also an appropriate example that in Parikshit Maharaj, how he handled that news of he is going to die within 7 days. Thank you for the example. Okay. Nobody has any questions or comments, we'll end the class here. So next week we'll continue the Srimad Bhagavatam third canto, and we'll resume the Shakuntala Dushyanta episode next week. About the further dialogue between Shakuntala and Dushyanta. Hare Shri Mahabharat ki jai, Shri Veda Vyasa ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you.